until we see the
Good afternoon. This is Glen Manners, and I'm the Associate Director here for Membership of Charity People. And to my right,
it's Hanan Kasmi. I'm Head of Equity, Diversity and Inclusion at Charity People.
Thanks, Hanan. Being Mental Health Week, we wanted to share something that we started in the pandemic, which was a walk and talk. A walk and talk is an excuse for us and our colleagues to go on a one-to-one phone call whilst taking a walk, and really an excuse to communicate with our colleagues when we're not in the office together as much. Certainly through the pandemic, nobody was at work, and it was just a really great way of connecting with our colleagues and being there for each other, really sharing common hurdles or frustrations or successes. And it wasn't just something for the pandemic, it's something that we've continued to do. And yeah, we just wanted to share and talk a little bit about that. Hanan, have you heard of other organisations doing similar things?
Yeah, I think a lot of people have, or organisations have been doing lots of walks and talks. I think there's a lot of benefits. We know the mental health benefits to walking, being out, taking a break, absolutely imperative for us to just kind of break up the working day and being out in basically as a park, you know, interacting with people, seeing nature. There's a lot of benefits to it. So yes, a lot of organisations have been doing it, and it'll be great to hear your comments if you guys are doing it, and let us know in the comments section.
Thanks, Hanan. Yeah, a big hello to everybody that's watching now, and everybody that's going to be watching on the rewatch as well. So hello to you. Feel free to comment and feel free to message us after if there's any questions coming off the back of that. So we've spoken a little bit about why we needed to do the walks and talks, because colleagues were feeling isolated from working from home. What's really interesting is that the pendulum hasn't swung back to everybody being back in the office. And I was keen to have a chat with Hanan about the pros and cons of home working versus office working, and the chasm really that's in between what our clients expect, so what charities are expecting versus what candidates are expecting. It's tricky. Hanan, any thoughts on hybrid working?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, it's really important to bear in mind that everyone's different. Everyone has different needs. The circumstances at home are different. So I think for me, organisations really just need to be flexible when they are addressing this issue. I think we're hearing a lot in media where, you know, lots of companies really kind of pushing for everyone to go back into the office, and that's not going to suit everyone, and that isn't going to appeal to everyone. And specifically, you know, some people, for example, that have caring responsibilities, whether it's for young children or for, you know, older parents or whoever, you know, it's really important that organisations are flexible. Pandemic proved that actually hybrid working does actually work. It is productive, and people do benefit from not having to commute every single day. So I think it's about really listening to what your colleagues are saying and what people want, because we know what's productive, and we know also now there's a lot of emphasis on our mental health. So we don't really want to go backwards. It's really important that those conversations are being had and are seriously considered by organisations.
I couldn't agree more. What's interesting, you're talking about the media. There is lots of noise about how people should be returning to the office. Some organisations would want them to return full time as per pre-pandemic, and that's really tough. That's really tough, especially from a recruitment point of view, when we're reaching out to candidates and headhunting and whatnot. Aside from salary, the hybrid working piece is kind of now at the top of their wish list, really. Absolutely. And if a client is asking for more than a couple of days or 3 days in the office, it becomes really, really challenging to attract the right caliber of candidate.
And that is a challenge that organisations will continue to face. So I think that's why it's really important that they have those serious conversations from the get-go, really, and are really open. Why do you need people in 5 days in the week? I mean, what is the reasoning for it? Because that will just not appeal to a wide variety of people. And it could potentially be actually excluding some groups who need to be near home or at home. And so I'd really, really kind of encourage organisations to really seriously think about the need to have people in the office, because again, our roles have changed and we can manage it. And there are some aspects I love going in to see my colleagues. That is, for me, is really the most important thing for me. It's about that connection, which again, it is Mental Health Awareness Week. It's that is really beneficial for me when I'm doing the work. Having a conversation in person really does benefit me over like a screen. But at the same time, as a single mother, for example, it will not appeal to me to be in the office 5 days a week. I don't want to do that commute. So it's about kind of getting that balance right. And I think we can get it, but have those conversations, really actively listen and ascertain as to why you want people back in the office full time, really, because there's a lot of talent out there. And what we don't want to be doing is losing that talent.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Sticking with the mental health piece, if candidates do get what they want with as much home working as they want, and maybe they are only going into the office 1 day a week, it's interesting how home working can impact on people's mental health. And certainly from colleagues that I speak to, there is a real trend now they're working from home, that they might start a little bit sooner in the morning because they haven't got a commute. They might be more likely to work through their lunch break. They might be less likely to take regular breaks from their computer, more likely to work later. So I think it's more important than ever for us to push how important it is to take regular breaks. And going back to these walks and talks, I should say to the audience, Hanan and I were planning on being on the move and having a real walk and talk during this session. But unfortunately, the great British weather, sod's law that it started to rain. I just thought it was going to be a week of sunshine, but so we were rained off.
Were we, Glen? We were rained off, and it's very windy where I am, so you could barely hear me. So apologies to the audience for that.
No, that's absolutely fair enough. Going back to the walks and talks, I was saying how important it is for people to take regular breaks. Just from the exercise point of view, it's great to go for a stroll every day if you can. I got into a really good habit with regards to during the pandemic, and it really helped my mental health, even when I was having a bad day, stressful day, or whatever. And I just think it's really important that people maintain and do that, and make time for their colleagues is twofold. Make time to reach out to colleagues who may be feeling isolated and wouldn't raise their head above the parapet. So it's good for you to be proactive and reach out. But yeah, also good for your own mental health.
Absolutely, Glen. And I think just to reiterate what you're saying, I think it's really important for our colleagues to see us taking those walks and talks regularly, because again, it shows that it's okay and it's actually a good thing. Sometimes we can kind of stress it, especially when you're managing people. You can be stressing the importance, but if you're not doing it yourself, it kind of it doesn't feel like it's authentic. So you as managers, you are going to be hopefully looking after people's mental health. Don't forget your own mental health is what I would say. And it really is important, specifically working from home, because it's really important to it's really easy to just fall into that mode of just constantly working, because, you don't have the regular coffee breaks by, the kitchen when you're, just chit chat with colleagues. So I would say really emphasize, making sure that you take regular breaks, making sure that you do move around the house as well. I do find that I've done that. So I'm not just focused on a desk. I do tend to work sometimes in the kitchen. I do stand up. I've got an ironing board where I'm just sort of typing when I'm standing, because I'm conscious of the fact that I'm constantly sitting down. If you are lucky enough to have a garden and your Wi-Fi reaches there, then go there. It's really important, and plan your day so that you are actually making sure that you're putting these into your calendar. Sometimes if you're finding that you're forgetting and you're not taking that, make sure you make an emphasis or put it in your calendar regularly so that it pops up, and just as a reminder, go walk 20 minutes, 10, 15, whatever you can do, but just get out of it. And it's really great because it will refresh you and you'll come back feeling really good about the work and reinvigorated, actually. So definitely don't forget it.
You're absolutely right, Hanan, and it's easier said than done. When we're all busier than ever, it is really easy to tell ourselves that we don't have the time, that we're too busy.
Yeah.
But you're right, it's just a matter of discipline, really, and being disciplined and being good to yourself to take those breaks. And I think putting it in the calendar is a great idea. Then you know that you're not going to have that phone call, that meeting that encroaches on that. Please feel free in the chat to give us any tips that you might have to help with your own mental health when you're either working from home or in the office. Hanan, with regards to any charities that are watching that might feel that there is maybe some room for improvement on how they would support their staff, have you got any key pointers for them?
I think for me, it really goes back to relationships that you have with your colleagues. I mean, you've got some organizations fall into this trap of like offering incentives like a gym membership or, you know, reduced fees on yoga classes or whatever. These are all really great, but the most paramount is having that relationship so that a colleague feels comfortable coming to talk to you as and when they might be experiencing difficulties. So I'd say your one-to-ones are really key time to really just check in on colleagues' mental health and how they're feeling. And what is good is that we are changing as a society. We are accepting that mental health is just as important as physical health, which wasn't always the case. You know, there's so much stigma, there's so much shame attached to mental health. And so we're kind of becoming more open. We're having these conversations, and that's good. But with that comes the need to ensure that we are looking after each other. So using your one-to-ones to check in are a great way. There's a lot of charities out there that offer what's called templates, wellness action plans that give you a kind of a free template. They're available from big mental health charity websites. You can download them, and then it just becomes a tool. It's a tool effectively for you to kind of be very open, have that discussion. You know who you're working with, you know what the norm is for them. If they are constantly chatty and bubbly, and then all of a sudden they come into a one-to-one and they work with journal, you'll notice that they're constantly late, and that's not the norm for them. Then do feel confident to address it during your one-to-ones, you know, and listen to what they're saying. If they open up about something that you don't know about, you know, have that honesty, have that openness to just be quite frank and say, okay, thank you for sharing. I'm going to look it up, or tell me what you need. Be empowering, rather than obviously kind of feeling frightful, because at the end of the day, there are loads of different mental health, mental illnesses out there. You're not expected to know all of them, but it's just about finding that right way. And if you have a mental health first aider at work, talk to them. They're a resource there. They should have a lot of knowledge. They should have access to signposting. So they are someone that you can talk to actually help in these situations. So I think that's absolutely imperative that organizations just really kind of keep. It's not just this week that mental health is important, but it's actually part and parcel of our work, and it carries on throughout the whole year. So I think that organizations really should be doing that.
I think that's fantastic advice. Absolutely. I mean, I can put my hands up. I was so disciplined during the pandemic, and with getting fresh air every day and taking exercise. Yeah. And as soon as things got really busy again, it's gone out the window. And I know that I need to make more of an effort, especially now the weather's changed for the better. Mm-hmm. We've had a comment from Ben, who's made a really good point. When we were explaining about the importance of walking and talking for charity people, I was talking about our days and success stories or frustrations. But Ben's made a really good point of the importance of checking in with colleagues and not talking about work. We're on the phone to candidates and clients all day long, but to break it up and share a little bit of your life or hear about somebody else's, talk about common interests, movies, music, holidays, whatever it might be. Again, it's a really nice way of switching off from the stresses of your 9 to 5. So I think that's a really good point, and absolutely something that we've embraced at Charity People and encouraged people to do and still do. I'm conscious of time, Hanan. Is there anything that you wanted to leave the audience with before we sign off?
Just to say thank you for people who have joined us, and thank you if you're going to watch afterwards, and to keep in touch and keep the conversation going. It's, again, something that we are keen to develop and to work on and to improve. I mean, it's a journey. It's not something that you just kind of tick the box and say, oh, we've done this for mental health awareness, that's it, it's over. Actually, it's absolutely imperative to well-being. And, you know, for organizations, everyone needs to care about their employees and their teams and their departments. And so it's really important that you keep this conversation going after this week. And you also find out what's happening in other places. I'd love to hear about what other organizations are doing and how that's working. If there's best practice, let's share it and let's keep things going and let's keep talking about it. So I would definitely say keep in touch and let's keep the conversation going.
Thanks so much, Hanan. I guess my leaving thought is just for anyone who might be suffering with any kind of mental health and maybe doesn't feel like that they can speak up and share their problem with their employer. There's been a massive sea change recently with regards to attitudes towards mental health over the last few years. And I just want to impress on people that they shouldn't suffer in silence. Being a guy, I know how easy it is to just think that you need to put up and shut up and get on with it. And it's a well-known thing that men tend to suffer in silence, whether it be to do with pride or any other reason. And there's that great British stiff upper lip thing that I think a lot of people in our communities suffer from as well. So yeah, my passing thought is just to please, if you are feeling any kind of mental health issues, that you should share with your employer and let them support you, give them the opportunity to support you. Okay, we're going to wrap up now, but a massive thank you to everybody who's watching and a big hello to those who are going to watch the rewatch. And we look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks so much. Thanks, Hanan.
See you. Thanks, Glenn. Take care.
See you very soon.
Take care. Bye-bye.